So let's say that this guy's style of a headlock is he ducks his head down. There's no room for the frame. Forget about the frame. I can't save myself. See, one of the benefits of the frame is he can't squeeze me. I later use the frame to escape, but right now I can't do either. If the guy ducks his head down like this, I'm going to hook over his leg. Okay? This arm either hooks the bicep if you can get it, or if the guy's too broad, you can't reach, you can hook on top of the neck. This hand comes out. Now, these toes go to the floor, and they start fighting to get me here. Now what I do now is I'm going to keep my grip here, is I'm going to grab the wrist of the arm that's around my neck. I'm going to put my head right on the floor, start to pull his wrist up as I shove my shoulder down into his back. And it pops him loose. And come out with this. So what I'm doing is I'm using my shoulder to push down, and I'm pulling his wrist on the other side. Two opposing forces. Once again. Sean, would you like to come out and get 10 minutes of this, you and Brittany?
Yeah, sorry.
All right, so look, he ducks. He ducks. I would prefer the other one because I got to take a lot of punishment now before I can get to my knees. I need a way to pull myself up. Usually it's here. You could hook here, but the higher it is for me, the better leverage I'm going to have pulling myself up, because this is the awkward part. I want to try to come around with this arm, because that's going to help push off the mat in a minute. I'm going to hook into him here to have something to pull up with here. My toes, just like a hip escape, engage on the floor. If I can't bring my arm around this way, it's hurting my shoulder, I come underneath. Sometimes you can come around, sometimes you've got to come underneath of yourself. So I use my chest to push into him here. My toes on the mat. As I push into him, I can pull this one out. I'm stable here, look, stable again, just like before. So now, look at his hand, the one's on my neck. I make a good grip of it. I hug his bicep to give me leverage to push my shoulder into his back. This tears his shoulder up when I'm doing this. Pushing my shoulder into his shoulder, driving his face into the floor, and I'm pulling up on the wrist, and it breaks. When it breaks, I duck my head out and put it behind his back. The back side. He's here, he ducks his head. I hook his arm, throw a hook over his leg. I use these toes in the mat to drive us this way. Look, when I get here, I can pull his arm out. I'm stable. I hook his wrist. As I pull up on the wrist, I drive my left shoulder into his back. Duck my head out. And come along. Again, he ducks his head. I cannot frame. If I could frame, I'm going here, but he ducks. I don't have this option. Hold the bicep. If he's too big, hook over the shoulder. Bicep is better if you can reach it. Step over with a hook on the leg. It's important to understand how to dig these toes into the mat to push here. I'm pulling in my arm. I'm pulling with the hook I made, and I'm driving with the toes on the floor. As I come up on my head, there's room to pull my arm out now. Right away, I go to his wrist here. Again, it's a push-pull. I'm pulling this one and pushing my right shoulder hard into his back. He can't take it. I duck my head out, put his arm up behind his back.